Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news from Star Citizen over the past week. My name is Mac, so let's get on with it. This week, 3.1 gets released. We get the Squadron 42 update, plus we hear more regarding characters and customization. So if you are yet to sign up to the RSA website, be sure to use my referral code found in the description below, which will get you a free 5,000 United Earth credits, which is the in-game currency. You don't even need to buy a game package, you just have to sign up on the website. So kicking off with calling all devs, first question is, does bigger mean better for equipment slots? For example, a capital ship radar, would it be better being so much bigger at detecting threats than a smaller radar would? And they say yes and no. The bigger radar would see further than a smaller radar, but the trade-off is that the bigger radar would have more signals and more emissions, so you are giving yourself away more obviously as well. For computers, they say the biggest size of computer they do is a medium, so capital ships won't have a capital size computer, they'll just have multiple medium computer banks, which means that you will have more slots to put in changing things up than you would if you had a smaller one. Next question, can we expect additional module concepts for already announced ships like the Endeavour, for example? And they say they're not something they want to do at the moment. They're not saying never say never, but until the Retaliator or the Endeavour modules are in, the current ones that they've spec'd, they won't be working on or adding any more. Now, personally, like with most things, until they've got them done, they won't be thinking about them, but as the game progresses in the next 10 years, 20 years, I'm quite confident we will see variations of these modules, different modules coming down the line depending on what we want. But yeah, until that time comes, they're just saying, sticking to what they've got to do. Next question is, how is the tractor beam progressing? Many ships need them, what can we expect? Now they say they are working on it. The first tractor beam will be just a weak tractor beam used for mining, so extracting chips of rock. We won't be able to use it for moving cargo or ships. They do need to figure out some of the issues that could arise with them, so if 2 or more players are trying to move a single box, what would happen? Maybe shooting a player with it, people getting abused by it. They need to find ways to mitigate this. They don't want us to stop. They don't want to stop us having fun, but they don't want people getting trolled. It would be some form of beam weapon, they say, in which you sort of focus on the item and manipulate it, say a cargo crate, for example. They are looking into the Orion tractor beam first. Because you'll be blowing up pieces of rock, you'll need to be quite quick in gathering those or tractoring those pieces in, otherwise you are losing money there. In terms of using the power on it, you can increase the power, and this will give it more of an intense power, but it'll also increase the distance it could possibly travel. But as a trade-off, it would be more dangerous, it could overheat or whatever, so balance is there. They are looking into allowing players to add tractor beams to ships that are not specifically supposed to have them, maybe swapping out a weapon port or a turret port and adding a tractor beam, allowing them to have other functions like assisting in mining ops or cargo hauling. So if you've got an Aurora, you could stick one on there and take cargo back and forth from a station to a ship. I actually bought one a long time ago, probably back in 2013, I think it was, which you could attach to your Aurora, but I think they have said a lot of the items that we bought from the shop back then are going to be refunded until they can really get onto them and look at them with the current standards. So we will see. Next question, will we be able to build our own space stations? I do like that question. It's being considered, but they are talking very far future. They would love to, but they need to find the way to do it right. They don't want hundreds of stations popping up in one area just because someone wanted to build in one area. But they do like the idea of players having been able to settle somewhere on the edge of a system, for example. I assume that once we get something like the Pioneer in, that would be tier 0 or tier 1 of building. From there, who knows what, the sky's the limit, really. Final question, can we get a ship's production roadmap on the website? And Jared says no, they have got higher priorities at the moment. The web team have got so much important stuff to be doing. We do currently have the ships represented on the roadmap. Not all of them, but the ones that are coming close. So he says it's just another way of showing that sort of information, so no. Anyway, that was calling all devs. Let's move on. So this week's Around the Verse is the Squadron 42 update. They started off by talking about the Bengal carrier. They're currently getting this on a detailed pass on the internal spaces, including the crew quarters, the bridge, and the multiple hangars that it has. They did find that players got frustrated trying to access certain areas due to the sheer size, so they've added elevators plus a subdeck transit system to traverse quickly. This is a monorail running back and forth from one side of the flight deck to the other, which helps when they say carrying out maintenance or transporting cargo, plus anything else you need to do. Another large area in Squadron 42 requiring its own transit system is the Shubin Akron station. You will see miners and other blue-collar personnel using this system to navigate around the station. It is very much like Half-Life, and I just think it will be incredible when you have to go from one end to the next and you can see NPCs going about the business, and it just looks really cool. Anyway, the Vandal is what they talked about next. They're fleshing out the capital ships for the Vandal. They're looking into ship weapons. They want to go for more of an organic style, like a flower opening up. This will be present on all Vandal ships and carry over to the Vandal weapons and components. They've also done some visual effects work on the alien explosions and weapon effects. Next up, we took a look at some of the art and animation on some of the larger Jeanne ships. They've got many design aspects that set them apart from everyone else. They also have some elegance to give more of a sense that they have been a starfaring race for thousands of years. So things like doorways, terminals, their concept of gravity, it's all different and it does look really cool. I'm very impressed with that. For the UEE, the props team have continued to provide items to place in the world. Hangar items are the majority for the moment. We saw a cool little forklift. I wonder if we'll get to use that. We also saw the mess hall menu being developed. They're using a procedural approach to create the certain foods which allow for almost an unlimited variety. And personally, I think it looks really good. It's really distinguishable, the difference in the foods. You can actually tell what it is that you're looking at. And I do wonder if this is the type of meals that we will get in the verse, catering for our own NPC crews and our real players. It would be quite interesting to see that. They've got a lot of focus on laser projectiles, giving them major visual improvements. Visibility and readability have been revised as well, and they just really want to give us the feeling that we are actually firing weapons that can cause damage. The takedown system has been improved and expanded. There's now more options for armed and unarmed attacks, and they've improved the skin shader for Squadron 42 characters, which have a lot of improvements and add a little more lifelike looks to them. So the main focus for ATV this week was the flight AI for NPC ships and how they control the ships. They want to make sure that pilots are more unique, so going from a rookie to a badass, they'll have different behaviours. They're converting all the AI flight logic into the subsumption AI system at the moment. AI is actually now completely character driven as well, and it's not the ship that's doing the manoeuvres, it's the NPC that's inside the ship cockpit controlling the ship. They're just working out finite details like they don't want an AI piloting a Starfarer to a dogfight like you would with a Hornet. The AI pilots will have full access to all the systems that the players have access to in the cockpit, and they can interact with the cockpit just like players can. Ultimately, they want the AI to think more and make better decisions while in combat, so disengaging when their shields are low or maybe getting a better angle on their target. They want to bring AI characters' personalities into their flight methods. If the character is hot-headed, for example, he'll fly like he's hot-headed. The Vandal, on the other hand, they say will be far more aggressive. They will try and face up to you every time trying to ram you with the ships. Some pirates in the verse may want to keep your ship, so they may not want to destroy you, maybe just disable you so that they can board and take the ship, which is very cool. They spoke a little bit about skills and traits, which we've heard of in the past. Skills are things that your AI or the NPC learns, so piloting, aiming, plus non-ship skills that they can be trained up on over time. Traits will be added to the AI as they're created, and these traits will influence their personality, not likely changing throughout the AI's lifetime, but there are certain circumstances, if the situations are correct, that could change them. So, for example, if an AI could gain hate for the Vandal if he had an experience where during a raid the Vandal killed all their crew, then he would have a hate for it, and his behaviour may change the next time he fights against the Vandal. Not something you can train. This will just be an inherent behaviour within the NPC's character. As the NPCs do train up to certain skills, they may learn how to pull off the manoeuvres or whatever it is in that skill tree. AI will also understand the concept of morale as well, so if the NPC is flying in a squad and he's the only one to survive, his morale, depending on his behaviour, may reduce, and the AI may flee or he may change its flight behaviour. This will also tie in with traits, so if the AI is stubborn, he may stay on fighting, but other things that could affect NPCs' morale is their sustenance, so have they had enough food, water, are they clean? If it gets too low, the morale could drop, so if you're hiring NPC crew, you need to make sure that they are well maintained and looked after, as you would do a real life crew. They do have a character profile editor tool now to allocate personalities. For the main characters, like the main lead characters, they can tweak things and give them more of a robust character. But they did say, to finish off with, that ship AI will be everywhere in the verse, and it needs to be good. Anyway, that was around the verse. I thought that was really good ATV, talking about the AI, but also seeing those monorails on the stations and in the ships got me all excited again. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let's move on. So on to Reverse the Verse. This was talking about the characters and creating characters and so forth. First question is, will we ever see aliens influence the human armors or clothing? And they say yes, they have recently spoke about ideas a little more off the wall than what we may think, involving an alien race that we've actually not encountered or talked about yet, which sounds quite exciting. Don't know what that could be, but they're also definitely looking into armors based on other races. The next question is, will clothes impact characters beyond cosmetics? Maybe more pockets, meaning we can carry more items. And yes, they did kind of say they already do, so light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor restricts the amount of item ports, plus it restricts the speed at which you can move and the amount you get tired. There will be some effects, but they're just not sure to what length yet, so we'll have to wait and see with that. Next question is, are there plans for hair and facial hair to grow over time? Now, they said they have thought about this. The challenge is kind of the fidelity. They need it to look good. They say having the hair at the time and then the growth of the hair is quite easy, but it's the transitioning in between. They say that the hair on the creator at the moment, the first iteration of the creator, the customizer we have, is not as good as they want it to be. There is going to be better ones coming. They need it to keep consistent. They say they can do it, but they will just need to explore how to do it, and it's currently not top priority. They also spoke that the current character customizer is the first version. It's 0.1 version of the customizer. Pretty much just enough for us to use. They got it in early rather than leaving it till later because it gives us something to play with, and B, it helps them iron out other issues that they would probably come across in the future. And one of these issues is to do with the female character. Because they have it in already, they knew an issue that would have risen up, and they've managed to stop that from happening. Next question is, will we have the ability to wear clothing over a flight suit or maybe over light armor when carrying potentially only a sidearm? And they say right now no, because of the way the system works, but potentially they could make it work on certain sizes. An undersuit, perhaps they could wear something over the top. Light armor, possibly, but things like medium armor and up, not so much. They said they want to look into how to do it without bringing a ton of work to come with it as well. Next question is to all three of the character teams, what is the most interesting concept that they're working on at the moment? And they said the Titan suit is one of them. They're working on the movement and its abilities. They're also doing a lot of work on the Vandal, finding out the different cultures for the Vandal and fleshing them out a little further. But also one of them has worked on a cow-like creature from Hurston, so that sounds interesting. Next question is, what is the status of FOIP, which is the face over IP, so when you move your face in real life using a camera, it will detect that and actually move your face in the game quite accurately. I must say, I tried that out at CitizenCon in Germany. They say the tech is done. It was an external piece of tech. It's not being developed by Star Citizen. It's completed. It's ready. There's just a few dependencies until it can be implemented. It sits on top of VoIP, voice over IP. So with that not being in yet, they need to get that in before they can really add VoIP as well. Next question is to do with the female model. Where is it? What's the status of it? And they say the model is complete. They've got lots of clothes and lots of assets done for her. They are making sure that everything else is in first, a lot like the FOIP sort of idea. They need animations, they need AI in first before they can really implement it. So once that's done, then they will implement the female model. Next question is, have they got plans to have cleanliness states on characters? And yes, they do. They have both dirt and wear. Dirt is from being and surrounding dirty environments and not washing. They did say there will be a washing mechanic coming in soon, but don't worry, it's not something you'll have to do every 2 minutes. Wear is something that happens over time, and things like weapons, for example, can be affected by wear. If something isn't maintained, it would either misfire or it can just become unusable. Next question is about alien creatures in-game. Is there any progression on these? Can you say anything? And all they've really said is that they're working on the Zhaan, they're working on the Vandal, and some of the creatures that we will see later on. Question after this is, will we have the ability to change the colour of armour? They say yes, absolutely. Either they're looking into ways to do it, so either have only the colours available in a particular shop and then have to go to a different shop to find variations. Maybe being able to paint them different colours if you buy a style of paint, I don't know how that would work. Or just having the option of any colour you want when you go to a shop to buy that variant. They did say that there are 20 variations of the RSI Explorer suit. We don't have that many at the moment. But it is more to do with the decision as to how they will let us change or pick the colour rather than whether we will or not. Question after this is simply tattoos, ? And they say they would love them in They have been talking about it a lot. Again, the things they need to work out yet. But this does bring up other long-term stuff like cybernetics and just customizing your body in other ways like piercings and so forth. So that's something I think they've spoke about a lot, and we've seen tattoos on the Squadron 42 demo, so potentially. Next question is, what happened to the helmets with the opening and closing visors? Now, they are still there. They're still trying to figure out how they would actually open and close and how they would work. They did say we will probably see them on hero helmets first, so characters in Squadron 42, before we get them in the PU, but that would be the starting blocks, I guess. So, final question, could we see age on our character customizer, so changing the age of your initial character? Now, this would require, they say, the ability to overlay textures to, so it's possible, and Chris Roberts has spoken about the character's aging. They did say, would it be possible to have it age over time as well, so as you get older? But going back to the hair question about having short hair to long hair, they can obviously have someone looking young, someone looking old, someone looking older. The textures are quite simple. It's more a case of how will they transition between those ages. Will it just pop into place, or will it slowly over time work? And as soon as they can figure a way of getting it to work well, then they will put it in. Anyway, that was Reverse the Verse, guys. Let's move on. So also this week, the Cup Part 2 lore post was released. Bug Smashers Mark Abent looked into a problem when taking off in 3.1, and the latest jump point is available for all subscribers. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. It really helps me out. Big thank you to all my patrons, as your monthly donations helps me to make videos like these, paying for software and hardware. Do follow the link below if you want to learn how to become a patron. Be sure to follow me over on Twitch and join us as we delve into the verse or just sit around chatting about the latest news. Follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with what I'm up to, and Instagram for the hell of it. My name is Mac. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.